This is an interview by Hannah Stershaw with her Gong Gong. Gong Gong is the maternal grandfather, the Chinese word for maternal grandfather. Okay, first question, you just ask your question.
Where were you born?
Gong Gong.
Gunga.
Hannah, I was born in a place called Hong Kong. Let me tell you something about Hong Kong. It's a very small place. It was a British colony at the southern tip of China. Just let me give you some idea. China is a large country, something like Canada in size, while Hong Kong is a very small area, about the size of the Greater Vancouver, or what we call Lower Mainland here. But there's a big difference between Hong Kong and Vancouver. The difference is the large number of people that live in Hong Kong. There are between 6 to 7 million, 6 to 7 million persons living in Hong Kong. That's more than twice the number of people that live in the province of British Columbia. So you have some idea how crowded the place is. Consequently, people do not live in the individual houses. They all live in apartments, tenement houses, and condos, and most the apartments are 23 stories high.
Did you spend what's Hong Kong like?
Hannah, Hong Kong is a very unique place in a sense. It was a British crown colony from the year 1840 to 1997. Before 1840, it was just fishing villages, and there were a few pirates. You know, the pirates that robs people and so on. And the British got the land from China under a concession treaty, and then they went on over a span of 150 years. They built into one of the world's most populated and well-known city. Do you know what a colony is? Let me tell you what a colony is. It was a British colony, but most the people that lived there, that's about 97% of the population, were Chinese. But the colony was administered by British government in London, and is governed under British law, but modified for the Chinese population. The people speak Chinese there, but English was the official language for the use in government and some part of the business that deal with foreign trades. Hong Kong went back to China under another treaty, and is now a special territory of China since 1997. I'll just try it. Yeah, that's okay.
Did you spend all your childhood in Hong Kong?
No, Hannah. although I was born in Hong Kong, I also spent some years in southern China, getting my education there also. There used to be a free flow of people between China and Hong Kong, and a lot of young people went to China for education. I took part of my high school in southern China. Yeah.
When did you come to Canada?
I came to Canada in 1952 when I was a young man. I came to pursue an education. At that time, China had just gone through several years of civil war, and many of the system there, including education, was in considerable chaos. Let me just tell you what civil war is. A civil war is when people in the same country are fighting against each other. That is quite a bad thing. My father, that's your great grandfather, felt that I should pursue an education abroad. Arthur.
Why did you choose to come to Canada?
Let me tell you that in 1952, the majority of students who went abroad to study from Hong Kong probably chose the United States or the United Kingdom. That's England, which have larger schools and universities. Canada was also not very well known. However, I chose Canada because it was different. Most people in Asia did not know much about Canada. We heard that it was very cold, lots of snow, and there were some people called Eskimos who lived in igloos. How did you travel?
How did you travel from Hong Kong to Canada?
Hong Kong and Vancouver are very, very far apart. The Hong Kong is on the west side of the Pacific Ocean, and Vancouver is on the northeast side of the Pacific Ocean. And the Pacific Ocean is the largest body of water in the world. Let me give you some idea. There's approximately 11,000 kilometers in distance between Hong Kong and Vancouver. That is about more than twice the width of Canada from Vancouver to Newfoundland. You know, nowadays you can fly from Vancouver to Hong Kong. You can get on a big jet plane and fly from Vancouver to Hong Kong in about 14 hours. So if you have a good long sleep, you can wake up. When you wake up, you're there. But in 1952, that's exactly 50 years ago, although airplanes were there were no jets then. And most people do not travel by plane. Most people still travel by boat. And that's how I came to Canada from Hong Kong by boat. Now, this was not a little boat. It was actually quite a large passenger, they call it passenger liner, that weighed 20,000 tons. That's a lot of weight. But you know how long it took? It still took took 3 weeks, 21 days to go from Hong Kong to San Francisco. Actually, the boat first went up to Japan and then down to Honolulu of Hawaii and then San Francisco. And that took 21 days. And then I had to take a train from San Francisco going north. And it took 2 days on the train to go from San Francisco to Vancouver. But since at that time I was going to school, going to the University of Manitoba in Winnipeg, I had to take another train from Vancouver to Winnipeg, and that took something like 2.5 to 3 days on the train again. Also, I left Hong Kong on the 1st of September of that year, and I didn't arrive at Winnipeg until the 30th of September. It took a whole month. What
was your first impression of Canada?
Coming from a small, crowded place like Hong Kong, I really marvel at the large space of this country. I was also tremendously impressed with the beauty of the trees, mountains, and forests, both of the Northern California and Oregon, and also the Canadian Rockies. When the train traveled through these areas, the beauty and majesty of the Canadian Rocky Mountains was just something out of this world, and certainly undescribable to me. It etched deeply, deeply into my mind and my consciousness for a long time. In addition, the vastness of the Canadian prairies, miles and miles after miles of empty space, and in the field for wheat field is something that I had never seen before. Just a second.
Oh.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you have any other expressions of Canada?
Yes, Hannah. Canada is also a land of great contrast. I always remember the day, September 30th, 1952, when I arrived at Winnipeg, at the city of Winnipeg. It was very warm. The temperature was 100 degrees Fahrenheit or 37.7 degrees Celsius. Yet when I woke up the next morning, it was snowing outside of the window, and the ground was completely blanketed with whiteness. For a person who had never seen snow before, I may say that there was it never snows in Hong Kong. This was a very exciting, but also difficult for me to believe that it could happen. The climate change and the coldness was also something that took me a long time to get adjusted to.